A big win, now just 2 more needed to send Immortals to the 3rd and final set.
It felt like he was drowning in that defense, but somehow was able to stick his head above water and punish the opposite lane. Canario couldn't believe it, neither could the bench of Team Liquid. That was so well done by RF, and as you've said many times throughout the season, Rich, he's done his job. Now if he can take down Surgical, that is a huge cushion for his team.
Looks like RF might be running that same Royal Giant Ice Wiz deck that ran multiple times in the last match. And Royal Giant also for Surgical Goblin.
Giant Skeleton right up front.
Ooh, it's the Graveyard deck, I think. So this is fascinating, Andrew. We've seen his teammates run this Splash Yard with the Giant Skeleton. We have not seen it yet from the Splash Yard player himself.
I mean, he is considered by most pros out there the best Splash Yard player in the game. So if he is, in fact, running that deck, which it really does look like he is, we are in for a treat.
That deck currently undefeated right now in CRL West.
Is that the only deck that's undefeated, that's been played more than once?
It might be. I mean, there might be a couple that have been played 1 or 2 times, but I think this is now the 6th or 7th appearance.
Wow, and it is so fun to play.
Might be the 5th. I don't have it. I don't have that number in my head right now.
There's more important things that matter.
It is a lot of fun to play, Andrew. I went home after the other day and just started throwing that on challenges and got some. It gives you some pretty big highlight moments.
Can't wait to see him. Ice Spirit jumps through, Royal Giant comes down.
Royal Giant at the bridge, and again, NATO pulls it back, and look at that, Giant Skeleton takes one very important step forward. Doesn't quite do enough to block that Royal Giant from moving forward.
RF gives him the well played. And now that we're getting into double elixir time, we're gonna see how the Graveyard God uses this new deck.
Baby Dragon Ice Wiz in the back for RF. Ice Wiz, Dark Prince for Surgical Goblin. Poison does come down to help. I don't know if that Dark Prince of the RF will get there in time, so Giant Skeleton does come in the last second.
He's gonna put some boosters on that Giant Skeleton with the Dark Prince.
A NATO to the opposite lane.
Oh, and almost gets the Dark Prince as well from Surgical, but now a lot of elixir spent on an offense that just stopped.
And Surgical Goblin knows NATO's not in cycle,
yeah.
So beautiful pickup by Surgical Goblin to recognize the situation and go opposite lane.
So now he's gotten both towers to around the same HP, so God RF not in trouble yet, but he's got to play a little smarter moving forward.
And here we go, Graveyard finally does come down. Baby Dragon into tank.
Perfect timing with that Baby Dragon. It cost at the exact second that the Princess Tower is ready to target.
And again, you might see Surgical switch lanes here. Ice Wiz goes to the top of the left-hand lane, decides to instead hold off and defend in the right.
RF just ignores that Ice Wizard. Now definitely needs to double down on defense on the left. He does have NATO back in cycle.
And there we go, NATO does pull it back. Ice Spirit does enough to hold off the Giant Skeleton for a second. Dark Prince will work for Surgical Goblin on the right-hand side. Royal Giant gets one shot. That's a big one. 30 seconds down in overtime, and Surgical Goblin does have the lead.
RF has not been able to successfully put together a Graveyard push except for one time, and Surgical stopped it right in its tracks. So this should negate all the damage from the RG.
And Tornado pulls everything together for that Dark Prince. RF does not quite have enough to return, but now Giant Skeleton aggressive, high in the opposite lane.
And what does Surge have here? He's got the NATO pulls to the Ice Wizard. Very, very nicely played.
Still eats quite a lot of shots from those skeletons in the Graveyard. Now goes into the opposite lane. Dark Prince down, Ice Wiz down.
NATO comes in, perfect timing.
And a well-timed lightning in response. Mega Minion should be enough to stop the Royal Giant, and it does.
Barbarian on the right-hand tower. Now the actually the more healthy tower is the one that Surge has been attacking relentlessly. 847 on the right.
A minute 20 left in this King of the Hill battle. It is lowest single tower, so if we ended right now, Surgical Goblin would have the win. Every single shot at this stage is massive.
And he does not get one a very, very close defense.
High Giant Skeleton into one Ice Wiz, the other Ice Wiz being taken care of by the Dark Prince. Now we have a Graveyard in. This could be big.
Skeleton's on the tower. A late Bar Barrel comes in, does clean up a few of them.
But some get on the back,
There
and
we are.
that tower's going
That
way
is going to go
down.
down. 292, 168, 91 HP, and the poison is in. Just one Graveyard pushes all the